history that I thought they were going to make that didn't make turned into maybe the history of the most lopsided 6-game series I've ever seen.
Wasn't that close?
Yeah. They didn't win one game in regulation.
Yeah. I don't think Connor or
They couldn't
Leon
beat them
scored
over
in
60
regulation.
minutes in one game.
Maybe Connor had the one. Yeah, Connor had one regulation. And
Goal.
Leon, yeah. Yeah, no, I
When the game was over.
When it was 3-zip
Yeah.
in game 5.
Leon had 2 OT winners.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's pretty good.
But I mean, I think a lot of what we're going to talk about with the Oilers comes to picking apart their roster, which you do with every team that comes a little bit short, is they didn't look much closer than any other team was to beating that Florida team, whether it's Tampa Bay, Toronto. Who else did they beat?
Carolina.
Carolina. Yeah, Carolina didn't sniff either.
No.
Like, that team was just better than everyone.
Yeah.
But
it does make you, like, if Edmonton had played any of those other teams, would they have beat them? They're more...
what we saw a lot of throughout the playoffs, especially in Los Angeles and giving up the first 2 goals, is that they started winning games without depending on 97 and 29.
Right, they got help.
Right?
Yeah.
They got help. And it was on the premise that was going to continue in the final. And it just didn't. They all came back down to earth, including Kapanen and whether it's Arvidsson in the lineup or out.
Let's be real.
Connor
Basically,
Brown.
Hyman was devastating.
Henrique, Kane. They all just fell off in the final series.
And today you wake up and it's like, okay, they're going to trade Evander Kane. You know, if Elliott reported that there'll be a market for him. That's the first one to fall. Klingberg's probably not going to come back.
Well, somebody will overpay Klingberg.
Yeah,
right?
he did enough to earn another shot somewhere. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, did you want to hear from McDavid after the game? I mean, I poured through the 2-minute, 53-second.
Yeah, I think we need to hear him.
Yeah, we do. It's definitely a good clip. Connor McDavid clip 1 on the series. Just Derek.
Lost to a really good team. Nobody quit. Nobody threw the towel in. They're a heck of a team. You know, the Stanley Cup champions back-to-back for a reason.
What's the difference in the series?
I mean, obviously their forecheck was great. They tilted the rink. They were able to kind of stay on top of us all over the place. Never really able to generate any momentum up the ice. You know, we kept trying the same thing over and over again, just banging our heads against the wall. So, credit to them. They played well.
Is that a criticism?
Is that a shot at the coach?
Yeah, I mean, it's a frustration that's probably valid. I think we watched a lot of teams against Florida.
What does he mean there, fellas?
To me, it's everyone kept going up the walls. Florida pinches hard down the walls.
Means we didn't make the proper adjustments.
Gregor before the series was like, should they flip their wingers and then have them on their offhand to get the puck to the middle? I didn't see him do anything. They just kept throwing the guys over the boards. And
when you think about Connor screaming and ranting in his viral moment last year, and then you hear him this year, it's as
they feel farther away.
It's as if, to me, he truly understands that we are possibly a worse team than we were last year.
Well, don't you think? I mean, they're both cripplingly heartbreaking. But I think last year, having the momentum of coming back from 3-0 down and it having to be a really close Game 7 that was on a knife's edge and he had the puck at the top of the blue paint with a chance to score to make it 2-2. Like, that one was...
That was supposed to kick in and build this year.
Yes, correct. And then
And it didn't.
But they added Jeff Skinner and Victor Arvidsson, lost guys to RFA offer sheets, and they didn't get better.
No.
They didn't improve enough.
Arvidsson's still under another year, is he not?
Yeah, but they healthy scratched him in playoffs,
I know.
and he's got $4 million
$4 million
cap hit next year.
And Connor Brown has, I think,
Brown's a UFA.
No, I know that, but he had $4 million this year on the cap, did he not?
Oh, that sounds
Three?
possible.
$3 million?
Yeah.
I think it was like a...
I'll find it for you.
So between Brown and Arvidsson, it's like that was a ton of money to be
It's
put.
just $1 million on
No,
which
but
there's
three.
overages from the year before.
There's three. I think. I think there was cash or something there, but my point is that like you cannot have a mistake of healthy scratching a $4 million player.
No.
You know, and Brown and Arvidsson should have been looked upon as being similar players. I don't know where you needed Arvidsson.
And Borny, you did mention it sort of quietly there when we were talking about other stuff, but no, Zach Hyman was a massive blow.
Yeah.
Like, and it deserves a little bit of a conversation that, like,
No question.
He's
Last
one of
year he
their,
scored
no
70
question.
he's their
times.
one of their go-to guys outside of Connor and Leon.
I don't see him being the difference between winning and losing the
No,
Stanley
they didn't
Cup.
feel one guy away, but at least it
Yeah.
definitely would have changed.
It just slots people in
I agree with
differently,
that,
and
yeah.
like they could have maybe won one more game to see worth that. I'm not sure, but that is a big miss.
But I do think it's worth noting that this Florida team, the damage they did to teams when it came time to put them away, like winning both these games by 3 goals, what they did to the Leafs in games 5 and 7, what they did to Carolina, they locked it down really tight. And here's one thing, they talked about intangibles and trust and all this team chemistry and leadership, all the stuff that hockey people hold dear seems to exist on that Panthers roster.
The thing that stands out for me the most is, there's a couple of clips out there of Paul Maurice behind the bench screaming, pound these guys. And then there's the words of Matthew Tkachuk, who says that whether or not, we need to go back up to Toronto in Game 7 or even take it to overtime, we know when we constantly play this way, it will turn in our favor. So when they get into those critical moments, there's an expectation of, number one, being calm, and number two, that we will come out on top. And we don't need to win it in 4 games, 5 games, 6 games. We can win it in 7 if it's even overtime. And it's one thing to say it, but it's another thing to truly believe it. And that's the difference in mentality between them and every other team that's looking on the outside right now.
Remember after the Leafs lost in Game 7 and Marchand talked about how he's like, about how we put too much pressure on the Leafs and all this stuff. He's like, this isn't even a big game. It's like, this is the second round. He's like, guys that have been there, like, it's a big game, like, sure, but like, this isn't the final. He went on like a big, long thing, and it's like, they just rise. I don't know how you quantify their ability to rise to the occasion over these past 3 seasons.
I also think, Sam, it gets easier once you've done it. Once you've got that on your resume already, and your opponent believes it.
Yes.
It's like prime Tiger, where guys would just like roll over for him. It's like, this guy doesn't choke.
Like we got to see on Sunday afternoon when the rain delay.
Yes, it's nice. It is like seeing where eventually your opponent starts to beat themselves because they believe you're that true to your system, and it feels like that's where opponents of the Panthers are at this point.
Can we, before we, I don't want to ask you about the coach